guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me. I haven't done much this morning. I dropped my daughter off at school and so I didn't apply much makeup. I thought it would be fun to film my makeup on camera. The twist, however, is that I'm going to be using a lot of products that I talked about in my video where I shared really amazing products that I feel like are underrated on YouTube, products that you really don't hear a whole lot about in the beauty community. So I have this little basket here filled with goodies, and we are going to just apply some makeup. So I don't have anything on my skin right now. I did apply some of the Drunk Elephant B Hydra Gel Moisturizer. This morning I put a teeny bit of makeup on to drop my daughter off at school, and then I've just re-washed my face. But I did moisturize with the La La Retro Whipped Cream, which is a heavier moisturizer. So I didn't want to reapply that now. So I just put on a tiny bit of that just to give my skin a little bit of moisture and prep it and prime it for makeup. So let's get started. Okay, so two of the foundations that I talked about in that video were by Face Atelier, the Ultra Skin and then the Ultra Foundation. This is a pro size, so if you were to go to their site and order it, it comes in a larger bottle that looks a little nicer than this. This is a product I've stocked in my kit for years. I mean, I would say 10 years. It's such a fantastic foundation. I'm actually going to mix the two together for this video. I really wanted to showcase both of these, and I think it's a good day to do that because it is pretty humid outside today. So the Ultra Skin on its own, I feel like needs a little bit more of a longer wearing foundation to kind of combat that humidity in the air and keep my foundation looking fresh longer. So this one has a little bit more of a natural, I hate to use the word matte because it's not really a matte finish, but it's not as hydrating as the Ultra Skin. So I'm gonna mix the two together. I have shade 6 in both of them. So I get asked a lot about, like, from people, what shade would I be? Or can you tell me about the shade range? So first and foremost, the shade range is so flexible, you guys. I mean, to give you an example, I started off wearing 4. I can wear 4, 5, or 6, and they will all work. The foundations really just kind of like blend into your skin. If you get near the right shade, chances are you can use that one, the one lighter, and the one darker than that. All of the shades do have a yellow undertone. However, the odd numbered shades, so like 1, 3, 5, 7, those are a teeny bit more pink. Okay, so these are both shade 6, and I'm just applying it with the e.l.f. What is this? The Flawless Face Brush? Blech, Flawless Face Brush. And you don't need to mix the two together. Really, I just wanted to talk about both of them in this video, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to wear, so that's why I decided to do them both. The reason I like these foundations so much is because I just think they are such beautiful foundations for mature aging skin. The Ultra Foundation gives really great coverage, but it doesn't look heavy at all on the skin. It doesn't look really matte or dry on the skin. It stays looking really nice throughout the day. It has a very natural finish. I just love it. The Ultra Skin is a newer foundation to me. I started using it last year, and it's just a slightly more hydrating, sheer version of the Ultra. My under eyes are so dark. I've been using a new product that I'm testing out by Color Science. Let me show you it. I actually have it in here. I'll show you when I get to it. But Stephanie Marie here on YouTube is a good friend of mine, and she has been raving about this product. She actually did a video on it, and I'll link it down below. And so they had reached out to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I definitely want to try it because my friend raves about it, and I really trust her opinion. So I've been using it for about a week, and I really like it. So I have the foundation on. You can see that it gives a nice natural finish. I can still see my skin through it, but it's done a great job of evening everything out. It doesn't look really matte. It doesn't look dewy or glowy at all either. It's kind of a very natural skin-like finish. For my under eyes, I'm going to use the Color Science Total Eye 3-in-1 Renewal Therapy. This is the product I was talking about that Stephanie loves that I've been trying for about a week, and I really like it. So what's really cool about this is it has an SPF of 35 in it. It has this little cooling tip to apply it. And it has a really nice warm peach undertone to it, so it's a really great color corrector, but it's easy to use. Some color correctors I've used before are really thick and very orange, and it's hard to blend them out. It's easy to apply too much. I find that this is really kind of like the perfect balance of pigment, moisture, and I love that it has an SPF of 35. So one thing I will say is not to use too much. It says to apply half of a pump, which is about that much, and to just dot it under the eyes. Okay, I need a little more. Some days I will just use this as my concealer alone. I've been doing that the last week. Like on days that I don't have a lot going on and I don't really want to wear a lot of makeup, but I want my under eye area to be brighter. I have pretty dark circles. I don't know how well you can tell on camera, but I just don't sleep enough and it shows. So I've just been applying it like that, and then I've actually been just rubbing it in with my finger. It blends in really easily. I mean, it just gives a really pretty natural brightness and cancels out that darkness. I had a viewer ask me about covering dark circles, and she was just saying, you know, she grabs a lighter concealer, but you can still see that darkness coming through. And I actually want to do a video on that, and I'll probably incorporate this into that video. But I was talking to her about how important it is to color correct or to choose the right concealer. Okay, my card just filled up, so I forget where I was. I think I was talking about color correcting. So I know we like to have a brighter under eye, especially if we have dark circles, but what you don't want to do is grab a concealer that's extremely too bright right off the bat. You typically need to go in and color correct beforehand, or use a concealer that's a little bit darker with a warm undertone to cover and conceal that, and then brighten it up with something lighter if you like a lighter look under the eye. But if you just go in and skip that first step and just go in with a brighter concealer, I like to equate it to wearing white pantyhose over a bruise. You're really not fooling anybody. You're still gonna see that dark cast shine through. But yeah, more to come on that topic soon. I think I'll do a video in the next couple of weeks on that. Okay, so that is just the Color Science. I haven't put any concealer on. I am going to use the Sephora Gel Serum Concealer because this is one that I talked about in the video of my underrated products. But I really don't even think I need this step. I'm just going to use a tiny bit, and I'm just going to go blend it in with my Sigma concealer brush that I have been obsessing over. This makes concealer so easy. See, that's a great example of how to brighten up the eye area. That concealer alone is pretty bright. To set my foundation, I'm going to use a very small amount of the Danessa Myricks translucent powder. I'm just going to set the center of my face, mainly around my nose and on my forehead. That's where I tend to get more oily throughout the day. This is also a product that I talked about and have been raving about that I discovered thanks to one of you guys who asked me to pick this up at the makeup show in September. So glad you did. I am loving it. So yeah, I really just set the center of my face. Those foundations, when mixed together, I don't really feel like you need to set. The Ultra Skin, you probably would, but the Ultra Foundation, I think, can be worn without setting it if needed. All right, then we're just gonna go and kind of fill these brows in. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give my face a little bit more dimension before we work on the eyes. I'm using the Hourglass bronzer in Luminous Bronze. This is a favorite of mine. I don't think I mentioned this one in that video, just because I do love it, but I don't necessarily think that it's an underrated product. I did, however, talk about this blush in that video. It's by The Balm Cosmetics, and it's the color Balm Beach. Such a pretty, just like matte, peachy pink, like natural looking blush. Just a really soft, natural looking blush. It just warms up the cheeks a little bit. I think it's a nice combo with a bronzer because it just gives a little bit of color, but you don't necessarily need to use a lot because you've already defined your cheekbones with your bronzer. Let's get to eyes. So I'm gonna prime my eyes using the Revlon Colorstay eyeshadow primer. And I just like to use my fingers to apply this. I always end up squeezing out too much. You really don't need much of this at all. Little trick is if you do apply too much, just use one of your clean fingers to wipe that off. So we have eyeshadow primer on. So I'm going to be using a few different eyeshadow formulations that I talked about in that video. We're going to start with the Balm. This is the palette Nude Dude. I bought this so long ago and it's such a great palette. Really pretty, like neutral colors. You've got some warm shades. You've got some shimmer and mattes. I'm just gonna use this color here called Fearless, and I'm gonna set my entire eyelid with this. You could get a complete look from this palette. For the sake of trying to use more brands that I talked about in that underrated video, I'm not. I'm just gonna use this one color because I wanna show you those Jentry Kelly eyeshadows and that Jane Iredale eyeshadow that I talked about. So I'm just using this to set my eyelid. For my transition shade, I'm going to use the Jentry Kelly Cosmetics. This shade is called Sweet Latte. I didn't show this in the video, but I mentioned it. I mentioned how I had it downstairs, but I needed to find it, so I found it. I searched high and low, and I am so glad that I found it. But it's just a really pretty transition shade. It's very creamy, matte, velvety. It goes on really well. It's easy to work with. It's got a good amount of pigment, but you can build it. So I always like to start with a little bit and then just build it from there. Kind of create a nice little transition here. Having that shadow by the Balm that I put down first is also really going to help me from applying too much of this transition shade. It's gonna help blend it out and make it just easier to work with. Okay. For my lid, I'm gonna use that Adele Peach Sorbet shadow that I talked about. I love this, and I often forget about it because I don't have it in a palette, and usually I use palettes when I do my makeup. I rarely grab like single eyeshadows, but this is such a beautiful color. I love it. It's like a satin sheen finish, and it's bright, but it has this really nice, soft peach hue to it. It's so pretty. Oh, I love it. It's one of those shadows that you really can use with any color that you're using. I think too, if you want to like kind of build and use this and then a slightly warmer tone, and then throw in a little bit of purple on the corner, oh, that would be so pretty. So I'm just gonna pack this on my lid. I'm gonna go all the way to the inner corner with it. Then I'm gonna deepen my outer corner, and I'm gonna use another Jentry Kelly Cosmetics eyeshadow. This one is called Urban Cowboy, and it's a really pretty, let me show you I need to put these in a palette. I just have them in their packaging, their clear packaging that it comes in, but can you see that? It's kind of hard to, it's not really focusing, is it? It's just this really kind of smoggy brown, mossy shade. It has a little bit of like a mossy tone to it. It's not really green, but it just looks like a mossy kind of smog brown. And I'm gonna use the 221 brush by MAC because I can control it better. I'm just gonna pop that right here on the outer corner. This is just gonna deepen that outer corner, give it a little bit more of a smoky effect. I'm gonna take it a little further in. To line my upper lash line, I'm gonna use the Kat Von D tattoo liner. And I'm gonna keep that line really thin and small. This is really just to give my lash line a little bit more thickness, and also I'm also gonna pull it up a little bit to create that slight eye lift with the little baby wing. For my lower lash line, I'm gonna line the inner rim with a brightening pencil. This is by Maybelline, and it's the Lasting Drama Waterproof Gel Liner. And I'm just going to align my waterline with this. For my lower lash line, I'm gonna use this Pixie eyeliner in Copper Glow. And I'm just gonna line a little bit here on the outer corner. I didn't line too much, I just lined the outer corner because I'm gonna go back in with an eyeshadow and smoke it out. And I'm gonna use the Urban Cowgirl by Jentry Kelly Cosmetics to do that. I feel like I need to look in a smaller mirror closer up. Oh yeah, this eyeshadow is so nice. It's like the perfect smoky shade. For lips, I'm going to use two Face Atelier products. I'm going to use the Lip Putty, which I didn't talk about in my underrated makeup products video, but it's such a great product that I think everyone needs to know about it, especially if you have small lips with a lot of texture or fine lines around them. This is like a lipstick primer that does a really great job of smoothing the texture out over your lips. It just gives your lips a more smooth finish. It also kind of enhances the size of your lips. I mean, it's not super dramatic. I wouldn't call it a lip plumper, but when your lips have a lot of like texture, or you have dry lips and you can just see all these little lip lines, once those are smoothed over, one effect of that is that your lips are going to look more full and a little bit more pouty. So I love this. It feels really nice on the lips, and I'm just going to apply it pretty liberally. Then I'm going to use the shade Pink Diamond by Face Atelier. I really love these lipsticks. They're nothing fancy. The packaging is very simple. The packaging actually looks kind of cheap. I talked about that in the video, but the quality of these lipsticks are so great. I feel like Face Atelier is a really true artist line. I feel like they don't waste a lot of money fluffing up the packaging, and you're not really paying for that. You're really paying for such a great quality, which may be why they don't get a whole lot of love, because they're not a product that is super marketable when you look at it. But when you try it, you're like, I need to try more products by this brand. So that lip putty kind of takes this lipstick and shears it down a tiny bit. You can see that it still has a lot of color. If I were to apply this on dry lips, the color would be even more intense. I'm not even gonna use the lip liner because I just want my lips to have a really soft, full look. So I'm gonna leave it like that. All right, and we are ready for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this fun little get ready with me. Leave all your questions and comments down below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button before you leave. And also hit that bell notification so you get notified of all my future videos when they go up and you don't miss anything. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for your support. Bye.